The governor of New York is insisting now that by next month there will be a revised plan that will allow the construction of the so-called Freedom Tower, where the World Trade Center once stood. Our third story on the countdown, let's hope he's wrong. Not to suggest that on this subject George Pataki is operating with anything less than the best of intentions, but this week a couple of people brought a plastic model into these studios, and to a lot of us it suddenly became unmistakably clear. Those people argued that the perfect way to both memorialize the victims of 9/11 and restore their community is to make their model real, their model of the World Trade Center towers, which they believe should be rebuilt. They are absolutely right, with one minor caveat. One of the towers should be exactly 229 feet 4 inches shorter than the other. I'll explain why in a bit. But before that, I have a confession to make. I hated the place. My first job in television was in the lobby of World Trade Center number 1, which is what we called it. I never heard North Tower or South Tower until the day of the attacks. That's where CNN's New York bureau was located until 1984, behind a 2-story thick glass wall that, when we put the studio lights on, made us look like a very cheap high school science experiment. And what the heck was this Trade Center architecture supposed to look like? The world's largest salute to oblong, perhaps, with the faux Gothic grillwork on the outside tacked on in a fruitless attempt to class up the joint? I went in there to clean out my desk on the afternoon of Saturday, March 31st, 1984. I would not return until Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. Then, of course, the sense of drudgery that only a disliked workplace can represent had been transformed into the terrible meaning we all now intuit. And that gaudy grillwork, the only remains standing, stuck out against the smoking pyre of the place with the starkness and the sudden antiquity of the Roman Colosseum. How, in 40 days as a street reporter after the attacks, my memories of the place changed, I needn't tell you. But as the searing pain of those first few weeks gradually gave way to sadness and thoughts of what, if anything, should be placed on this most hallowed ground, the only thing that seemed to make sense was that the towers be recreated as originally designed, oblong boxiness and all, with that one minor caveat about the 229 feet and 4 inches. I was not among the voices insisting that only rebuilding it as it was would show that we hadn't been beaten, merely that all other forms of construction there would offend the sensibility and diminish, not enhance, the remembrance. I haven't thought much lately of the rebuilding. The process of healing in humans is a regretful one in a way. We are designed to forget. Not to forget the whole, but merely to forget the sharp edges. I had not forgotten the Trade Center, nor my 3 years in it, nor had I forgotten the fact that some creatures had managed to use 2 planes that each contained a friend of mine. Ace Bailey, the former hockey player and executive, was on one of the planes, and Tom Pecorelli, who had been one of the studio cameramen for my shows at Fox Sports, was on the other plane. And they'd used those planes to kill so many innocents in the buildings, including 2 college classmates of mine, Mike Tanner and Eamon McEnany, who happened also to have been the quarterback and the receiver for Cornell University football in the first sporting event I ever actually got paid to go cover. Those memories had not passed, and they will not, nor will the simple reality that it all happened, a reality that will still of a morning unexpectedly punch me in the stomach or make me wonder for a moment if something so horrible could have actually occurred, or if I must have imagined it in a consummate moment in a dream from an endless night. But I had forgotten about the rightness of putting the Trade Center back where it stood, forgotten it until I saw those models in our studios, and it all came back to me. The Freedom Tower design wasn't somebody trying to be disrespectful. It was just the unavoidable project of an architectural trend in which everything has to look like somebody just built it with a kid's erector set. But it was wrong. The best way, the only way to further soothe our pain is to rebuild it as it was. Which brings me to my caveat. Use the original blueprints and design the new Trade Center exactly as it had been, but ensure that one of the towers be exactly 229 feet 4 inches shorter than the other. It's an uncomplicated gimmick that will guarantee remembrance, because as long as these new towers stand, someone, unaware, will ask, Why is one of them shorter than the other? Whereupon an old-timer can explain solemnly that the difference between the heights of the towers is intentional. The 229 feet 4 inches, that's exactly 2,752 inches. 1 inch for each of the victims. And that would be all the memorial we would ever need.